Following the March 1, 2025, bout between Gervonta "Tank" Davis and Lamont Roach Jr., which finished in a majority draw and left boxing fans, commentators, and competitors doubting the sport's legitimacy, the boxing world has been ablaze with controversy. Although both fighters displayed exceptional skill in the fight, which took place at the Barclays Center, it was marred by a controversial moment in the 9th round when Davis took a knee, which many feel should have been a knockdown. Those like Joe Rogan, Teddy Atlas, and even Roach himself have sharply criticized the fight-fixing and legal manipulation allegations that have been stoked by this and a strange rule that gives a knocked-out fighter 2 minutes to recover and return for a knockout. The actual bout was an exciting demonstration of skill. Known for his brutal strength and accuracy at 135 pounds, Davis squared up against Roach, a tenacious and accomplished fighter whose performance improved his reputation in the boxing world. The two sparred for 12 rounds, with Davis maintaining a better accuracy percentage and Roach throwing and landing more punches overall. When debating the result, many fans and commentators cited the fact that Roach outworked Davis statistically, winning 8 rounds to Davis's 4. However, the debate's main focus shifted to the 9th round. Following a shot from Roach, Davis rolled onto his back and fell to one knee. Referee Steve Willis counted to 3, and then stopped suddenly as Davis got up and went back to his corner, where his team used a towel to clean his face, an unlawful mid-round move. Outrage at this series of incidents was instantaneous. Speaking about the incident, veteran referee Jack Reese highlighted the flexibility of boxing rules, pointing out that officials have the final say in matters like knockdowns and have absolute authority in the ring. Due to an ethics agreement, Reese did not directly criticize Willis's decision. Instead, he explained the difference between rigid restrictions and flexible guidelines, leaving the audience to make their own judgment. The absence of a knockdown call was deemed inexcusable by many. Drawing on his personal experience against Ruslan Provodnikov, former boxer Chris Algieri revealed that kneeling is a tactical maneuver to purchase time, something he performed when his vision was hindered. Algieri contended that, as is customary in boxing, Davis's knee should have resulted in a forced count even if the blow had landed cleanly. The fight's governing body, the New York State Athletic Commission, NYSAC, admitted that Willis missed the knockdown call in the 9th round due to a review error. They did, however, uphold the majority draw following an examination, pointing to production problems and technical challenges as contributory factors. The commission observed that neither boxer disregarded the referee's rulings during the bout and that there was not enough evidence to reverse the outcome. The disagreement was not much reduced by this explanation. Critics argued that a more explicit decision in Roach's favor should have been made in light of Willis's original count and the unlawful towel use in Davis's corner. Boxing commentator Showbiz the Adult criticized the NYSAC's logic as weak, claiming that it only highlighted the referee's mistake if the fight's progression had been altered by a real-time knockdown call. Never one to hold back, Joe Rogan attacked the bout on his platform, accusing the 2-minute recovery rule and the no-knockdown ruling of being obvious trickery. He implied that attorneys designed a regulation, which permits a boxer to bounce back from a knockout and maybe force a draw, in order to save well-known athletes like Davis. Rogan maintained that a rematch was necessary, claiming that Davis couldn't abandon the crowd after such a poor performance without providing them with a clear winner. He questioned Davis's readiness, making fun of the claim that he had to take a knee because oil from his hair got into his eyes. Rogan said, "Shave your head, bro," highlighting the fact that a champion fighter shouldn't be distracted by such a small matter. During the battle, Roach himself made references to corruption. He described a terrifying encounter with Davis in the 11th or 12th round in a post-match interview. He said, "You're not going to win." "Why not?" I asked. "What are you discussing?" "They're not going to give it to you," he said. "Oh, is that right?" I asked. Roach's remarks depicted a sport in which results are fixed, particularly when a superstar like Davis is participating. When the results were revealed, 114 to 114, 114 to 114, and 116 to 112 in Davis's favor, Roach was unhappy but not shocked because he thought he had won by split decision. "That's how boxing works," he explained, accepting the fact that competing against a well-known opponent frequently entails battling the judges just as much as the opponent. Teddy Atlas, a well-known boxing expert with decades of experience in the sport, agreed with Roach that popularity and influence tend to take precedence over competence in contemporary boxing. Citing a lack of accountability for referee choices, he called for a rematch to settle the outstanding issues but expressed doubt that it would take place. Atlas acknowledged, "This sport has made me cynical," citing past instances such as Angelo Dundee's management of Muhammad Ali's temporary blindness without the need for a pause. Atlas maintained that Davis's knee was a planned attempt to stop Roach's momentum rather than a valid reaction to being hurt. Because of the officiating, the move went unpunished. This dissatisfaction was shared by the fans. As the draw was revealed, boos poured down at the Barclays Center, confirming the general perception that Davis didn't play up to par. Shakur Stevenson, a fellow boxer, expressed his dissatisfaction, speculating that Davis's propensity to kneel under duress may be a part of his fighting style, a bully complex that breaks down when he encounters an unyielding foe like Roach. The numbers backed up the fans' annoyance. Roach outlanded Davis, controlled more rounds, and many claimed he would have won by knockdown in the ninth. Under the leadership of trainer Calvin Ford, Davis's staff dismissed the criticism. Ford pointed out that fighters had taken knees throughout the history of boxing, dismissing the controversy around the move as a common tactic. "Fame attracts detractors," he added, stressing that their training and winning, not public opinion, were their top priorities. Davis himself claimed that the knee occurred because his vision was impaired by the oil from his hair, a claim that was met with disbelief and mockery by pundits like Showbiz, who contended that Davis had no right to make such a feeble defense with a seasoned cornerman like Ford. The ramifications of the bout go beyond the arena. Even though Davis is still the WBA lightweight champion, the dispute has damaged his reputation. He was once seen as an unstoppable force, but now he is under investigation and is being called for a rematch to demonstrate that his dominance wasn't the result of wise choices. The fight was a turning point in Roach's career. His unwavering pressure and fortitude in the face of Davis's dominance raised his profile and put him in a position for further opportunities, but he still feels the sting of a victory that was allegedly stolen. This is regarded as a turning point by the larger boxing community. The sport has long been beset by accusations of fight fixing and pay-per-view driven results, but the Davis-Roach scandal has rekindled calls for reform and openness. In particular, the 2-minute recovery rule has been cited as a legal loophole that undermines the competitive integrity of the sport by protecting marketable fighters. Boxing's move away from merit and toward business, according to analysts like Atlas, is alienating purists and undermining the faith of longtime supporters. "I love my sport that I've been in for 50 years, Atlas stated. "I hate what people do to it." The mistrust has further grown as a result of the NYSAC's decision to maintain the draw even after acknowledging the missed knockdown. Many see it as a cop-out to avoid overturning a decision that favored a cash cow like Davis, even though they blamed it on manufacturing problems and technological challenges. Canelo Alvarez also voiced his opinion, pointing out that the towel incident alone might have been grounds for disqualification. However, few were satisfied with the commission's attitude, which maintained that real-time officiating faults could not be remedied retroactively without changing the fight's natural flow. Rogan, Atlas, and supporters have all increased their calls for a rematch, arguing that it is the only way to regain credibility. Given the stakes and public outcry, the WBA might enforce it, but it's unclear if Davis's camp will consent. A rematch would push Davis to face his doubts and give Roach a well-earned chance at atonement. The boxing community is currently keeping a careful eye on things to determine if the sport's power brokers put profit or fairness first. Despite its controversy, the Davis-Roach bout was a display of great skill, showcasing two fighters at the top of their game. Roach's heart and volume matched Davis's strength and style, making for a fight that, on its own merits, was worthy of a definite winner. Rather, it has come to represent boxing's hardships and serve as a warning that the sport's shortcomings may overshadow even the best performances. The question remains when the dust settles. Will boxing overcome its problems, or will fans still adore a sport that they detest more and more when it is manipulated?